Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Up Sis podcast. I am your host, Angel Charmaine, and today is Tuesday. It's the second Tuesday of the month, and as you all know, every second and fourth Tuesday, we have branded with CJ Benjamin of the Brand Room right here on Speak Up Sis podcast, and we share this space in order to share information, some tools and strategies, some techniques to help you with your personal as well as your professional branding, to help you to be more effective as well as impactful when sharing your story to inspire the stories of others. So today we've got another amazing show for you. CJ is going to come up and join me in just a moment. And we also have a guest today. Her name is Ima Hackh, and she will come on and talk to you all today about brand marketing for startup businesses. So let's go ahead and get into it today. Remember, if you are watching via our YouTube channel, make sure to click subscribe as well as the notification bell so you know when we upload new content. If you're watching on Speak Up Sis podcast on our Facebook page, thank you so much. We appreciate the stars. If you are enjoying the content, if you appreciate the content, then please support the content as well. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to move on out of the way so we can get started today. All right. CJ and Ima, welcome to Speak Up Sis podcast this Tuesday. How are y'all doing today?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm happy to be here and happy to be alive too.
I know that's right.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. You're welcome.
CJ, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, she's going to do that, but I just want to get started. She's going to come up in a bit, right? So I want to welcome every one of us again to this great segment where we talk about branding and everything about accelerating your brand, taking you from where you are at this point to where you ought to be, right? So we're talking about branding for startups, and we have somebody that's going to come and do justice to that topic. But before we get on to it, I want to let you know that the world is changing, right? There's a lot of things happening in different aspects of life. Trust me, there's a new consciousness. There's new consciousness in business, in politics. There's new consciousness in families. There are new consciousness in different areas of life, in education, right? So there is the need for you to upgrade yourself, upgrade your intelligence, upgrade your awareness, and begin to leverage some of the newness thinking that is available today, right? So there is the need for this marketing for startups. True, everybody is trying to do business, everybody's creating products and all of that, but what are you doing, right, to be able to push that thing that you're doing to become not just a business but a global brand? So we are going to be taking you through the processes of new consciousness that you need to leverage to be able to build the brand that you've always loved to build. I tell people you can build $1 million brand with a minimum wage brand ethics. What that simply means is that there is a consciousness and there are concept, ideas, strategies, and stratagems that you need to embed in your thinking for you to be able to push what you're doing at this point to another level. So there's new consciousness in marketing, right? It's not just enough to have a message, but how are you going to craft that message to reach the generation Z and the millennials? And everything is changing. Everything is changing. You have to embed the new consciousness in your mind and be able to think in a certain way. The way you did it last year might not work this year. Trust me, the way you did it a few years ago might not work today. There's new consciousness in everything. So this is the time to upgrade your thinking and begin to embrace the newness in business, the newness in marketing, the newness in building structures and systems for your business. So I'm going to bring Ima up to be to do justice to the topic today, brand marketing for startups, right? So she's going to come and tell us all we need to know. So I want to bring Ima on. She's a friend of mine, and she's been on a platform, I think Brand Summit, some years back, and she was amazing. Did some amazing justice to the topics around building global brands and all of that. So I want to welcome Ima to the show today. How you doing, Ima?
I'm fine. Thank you, Benjamin, for inviting me. Excited to be here. And today's topic is brand marketing for startups. Before we dive right into that, I would like to do a brief introduction. So my name is Ima Hackh. I'm based in Germany, and I've had about 10 years experience in marketing and sales. I've worked in retail, real estate, worked in the past 4 or 5 years in tech, currently work in the fintech industry, helping a fintech startup launch next year. So I've learned a lot along the way. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've also learned from the mistakes I've made. And I'm also still learning because, like they say, you never say I'm perfect, right? It's just pure arrogance to say I'm perfect, but you can say I'm learning, I'm growing on this, and I'm so glad to continue on this journey and learn a lot. But I've realized that one area in where you have to be really humble is marketing, because one thing you know today could be sort of like old knowledge tomorrow, and could actually even be irrelevant or even doing your brand some harm. So like I said, I run a marketing agency also on the side called Budgency, where I help startups to brand and create manage their content on all social media platforms. I also help them to build the brand that they want by using the right messaging, which is really important. But there are some basic mistakes that I see a lot of startups making, that I first want to talk about. And one of them is thinking that they are starting small. So because you're starting small, you mean that you're going to act small. You're going to say, I can overlook that because I'm just a small business, or I don't have to have that because I'm just a small business, or I don't have to put that into consideration because I'm just a small business. And that's the first mistake a lot of startups make. They overlook a lot of things, especially when it comes to marketing. They put 90% of their time focusing on building the drop dead product, and then the marketing just is completely crappy, and within a few months the company is going down, right? So marketing is really important, and brand marketing is even more important because the perception is more important than reality. So if people perceive that your brand is really expensive, for instance, yes, they're going to pay for it. So the first thing, the thing that it's really critical is that when you're starting out small, when you're starting out, basically, do not think, oh, I can deal with the wordings or my brand voice later on. I can deal with my brand image later on. I can deal with my brand logo or design later on. I see a lot of startups having different colors. I mean, today their logo looks light purple. The next day it's red. They keep changing, a lot of things changing, how they operate, changing so many things about their brand. And you need to ask yourself, I mean, from outside you're like, what is really going on in here, right? And so you present yourself as someone as a business who's not really serious about delivering this standard. So that is the solution. When you start small, make sure you have everything covered. Even though you're not dealing on it or investing very deeply into it, just make sure that you have your some aspects of your brand covered. For instance, the logo. You have a good brand video or something that you can present to people. These things cost money. They cost a lot of resources. They cost little resources, but they go a long way to ensure that your brand looks professional, looks expensive, because you want people to pay the right price, right? You don't want people to come to you because you're the cheapest guy on the block, because that's a very big mistake a lot of startups have, and then they don't charge enough. Talking about the second mistake, people don't charge enough. So I once consulted for a fashion brand, and she was presenting herself as a luxury brand. But I realized that she had not made profit in 5 years because her products were too low. So what we did was, at first I said, we're going to increase your prices by 25%. And she was like, nobody's going to buy. Funny enough, that month we doubled the revenue from her product by marketing it on social media, doing a lot of promotions and so on. And even the old customers didn't even realize that the price had gone up. So having the right pricing strategy is really important in positioning your brand. If you want to position your brand as a cheap brand, then you can do that. But then the pricing has to be competitive. But having trying to be the like the luxury brand with the cheap prices is kind of like messed up when you look at it from the outside perspective. So if it's so good, why is it so cheap, right? And if it's so cheap, well, it can't be so good. So you want to really be at the right price point in terms of your brand image. Now the third error I see a lot of startups doing is not investing in the right skills. So I know at very beginning you are focused on like creating the product, but there's essential skills, especially when you don't have the manpower to do the marketing yourself. I met people that did their social media platforms really well, and I thought, okay, how did you do that? And they were like, I had to learn it. I was like, I can't believe you did that. And it's all about investing in the right skills. Invest in like design skills. If you're going to do your designs by yourself, please take a day or two or a week to learn about graphic design. There are courses on Canva, there are courses on Udemy, there are courses on LinkedIn. There are lots of courses and resources, and even on YouTube on design that can help you to design something really good, even though it might not look like what a professional would do, like sort of like what CJ would do or what a professional would do. It would still be better. So it is better to either meet a professional like CJ or not put out something out there that would be really hurtful to your brand image. So it's critical to start right, to start with the right part. The fourth thing mistake I see a lot of people making is lack of consistency. So sometimes they just start out when they are marketing, they post like 5 posts on their Instagram or LinkedIn, and then none of that went viral, so they just stopped posting for 1 month, and then 1 month later they just say, oh, we're glad to be back again after a long summer break. And then this keeps going back and forth, and so it's really tampering with the brand image, and not being consistent can really do a lot of harm to your brand, more than you not even being present. So it is really important to invest in consistency. The other mistake I see a lot of brands making is not knowing how to communicate. So in terms of marketing, whether it's whatever you put out there, you have to make sure that it's communicating the right thing in the right word, in the right tone, in the right spelling, in the right what you are planning to say to the customer. So it's not that you're communicating something completely different from what your brand stands for. So it is really essential from the beginning to state, this is what my brand represents. These are the values of my brand. This is the way I want my brand to sound. You could check up how to create brand wordings, brand verbiage, so that you are speaking always the same wherever you are across all social media platforms. So, I mean, there are social media platforms that are more fun than others. Like, for instance, TikTok marketing, your TikTok videos might look completely different from your LinkedIn videos. So you sort of need to know what platforms match with what platform. A lot of startups take TikTok content and put it on LinkedIn, and put LinkedIn content on TikTok. And then they wonder why they are not driving the sort of followership that they need, or the sort of engagement that they need. Now, there are lots of copywriting tools that you can use. A list of them is copysmith.ai, there's conversion.ai, there's jarvis.ai, there's simplify.ai, I use copy.ai a lot. There's shorty.ai, as in SHORTHY or THLY. There's closer copy. There are lots of other copyright platforms where you can retweak your words, or create some words or sentences that would help you to promote your brand, or help you to speak about your brand in the right way. So the next part I want to look at are the three most essential part of branding when you're just getting started. Apart from what I've already mentioned, there are lots of the three E's are, first of all, you have to engage with your customers, because your customers are not just these people that are separate from your business, right? They are part of your business because they are buying from you. So if someone is buying anything from you, you have to get to know them. You have to first engage with them. What sort of color do you like? What sort of, and that doesn't happen by just putting out a post and waiting for comments to come in. You go out there and you engage with them. How did you like our service? Is there any way we could improve? What other things do you need? What are the issues that you're facing? What are your pain points? What are the issues you have as regarding this service that I have? And then having that sort of engagement is really critical for building a brand that connects with the customer, because it's one thing to build a brand and it's not connecting with anybody. So you're out there, you're putting out a lot of posts, and you're wondering, why is nobody talking about my product? Why is nobody talking back to me? I'm talking to them, but nobody's talking to me, because you're not talking with them. So having conversations with your customers helps you to know. It's sort of like getting a cheat sheet from the customer themselves. And this has rewarded me in several ways by giving me a lot of helping me close a lot of deals as well, in terms of having this communicative way of engaging with the customer. And that is not just when you have phone calls, but also on social media. You can do a lot of polls, you can do a lot of surveys as well, to get to know how do people feel and what are their real pain points, not the ones you think they have, but the ones you know that they have. And then the other thing is to delight your customers. So how do you do that? As a startup, nobody knows you yet, and your brand is not like Coca-Cola or Microsoft or on everybody's tongue. So how do you get relevant by just being nobody? But just, it starts small. Every small drain, everything you put out there, every day you wake up and you're consistent and you show up, you are building on something. It's not going to happen overnight. It was never planned that it would happen overnight. So that's why it's important to always be consistent, create a plan first, and be consistent. Then the other topic is that you need to expand, delegate some things. Some things require that you can pay people to do. In fact, when it comes to, especially when it comes to tasks that are pretty easy and can be done by somebody else, I would suggest that you delegate these tasks so that it frees you up to wear the strategic creative cap if you need to and when you need to. It is also really critical to enlighten yourself about certain things, about the market, about the trends, about what your competitors are doing. So the third part is that you need to enlighten yourself about these things, and also enlighten your customers, enlighten people, because you don't want to be that person who sells a product that nobody even knows how to use. So constantly putting out content that enlighten your customers. You think it's a waste of time doing those webinars, doing those podcasts, doing a lot of programs. You are not wasting time. You're doing two things. You're building thought leadership on the topic, and then you're also building your own brand and putting it out there, putting out shareable content, not just content that's talking about your brand. I mean, if you put out content that is promoting your brand once a week, I think that's enough. The other part of the weeks could be talking about the customer, things that they can share to their colleagues, things that they can share to their siblings and say, hey, you should try out this, or check this out, or what do you think about this? These are really critical things to enlighten yourself first about the trend, about the market, and be that person that can break down really tough topics to your customers or to your target audience. It is therefore really critical to have a plan, a content plan, for instance. Having a content plan does a lot of things for you. It spares you time and time and effort. It also ensures that your brand is consistent and is speaking about a certain thing at a certain time, and that your brand is building something. So building up, so whatever you're communicating is building up to something that you want to achieve, right? So you don't want to be climbing up the wrong ladder when it comes to brand marketing. You want to be climbing up on the right direction. You want to be moving in in the right direction. And that's where the strategy comes from. That's why I'm going to go back to strategy anytime, because I'm a brand strategist and sorry, a content marketing strategist. And I can tell you that when you start from the basics, you have to set up the foundation right. You have to have all your strategies. How will you engage with your customers? How will you engage with your competitors? How would you engage with your suppliers? How would you engage with your colleagues? You have to sit down and write this all out. And if you've written it all out already, which I know most of you have, it's to bring it to life. So bring out all those things that you've written, all those plans, all those strategies, all those content ideas, and bring it to life. Bring it to life by scheduling it, putting a place in your calendar for this, putting a place in your discussions with your customers for these topics, and basically just giving out value. That's the last statement. We have to give out a lot of value in terms of not just the product that we're providing, but value in terms of how we're supporting the customer, what other things do they need, what other problems can they solve, and also being the person that they can call on. And it's so therefore critical to be consistent, because you want to maintain that top of the brain knowledge. People forget. I mean, even your own siblings can take a job to someone completely different because they forget. And that's why it's so important to speak up. Like, I love the name of this podcast because it's sort of like driving you to speak about what you do, speak about what you are all about, speak about your talent, speak about your business, whether you're in social settings or in public settings, sorry, in social settings or in private settings. Always try to talk about your business, and about not just about your business, but about the challenges that your typical customers have. So for instance, I could start up a conversation about startups and how it's so difficult for them to maintain or to be consistent. And then from there, people might ask, oh, by the way, what do you do? So it's really important to speak up about things, speak up about your brand, because nobody else is going to do your brand marketing better than you can do. I mean, you can pay people to do it. You can also pay a lot of people to work for you, but at the end of the day, the brand is really you. If the people don't like you, they're not going to buy your business. They're not going to buy your product or service. They're not going to buy into your business. So having that internal preparation and living out your brand. So I mean, it's sort of like you're speaking about wealth, and why you wonder why all these guys on YouTube that are promoting the rich lifestyle, even though they don't have that money, they go borrow more money to live that rich lifestyle, because they want to really encompass what they mean. And like, if it's like going to buy hair products, for instance, from someone who has hair growth products from someone who has really short hair, 90% of people will not buy. So you have to sort of like live up with your brand promise, live your brand out from inside out. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'm free to take them now.
That was a lot of information. I feel like I need to sort of decompress and chew it up a little bit so that I can actually digest it. Um, Lots of information. Thank you so much, Ima. It was well structured, well thought out, well expressed. Anyone who is starting up a business, even if you've already started, let me just say that there are a lot of people who started businesses who probably need to go back to the drawing table, um,
Correct.
and rethink some things. Get pull your business plan back out. To really look at your vision and your mission, restructure those things. Um,
Yeah.
and I think you did a really good job of laying out some fundamental things. that really need to be dealt with startups. CJ, do you have anything to say?
Okay, before we just wrap up, I just want to retrace some of the things that she said that is quite powerful, right? And one of the things she said when she was starting is that when you are starting small, doesn't mean that you have to behave
Yes.
small, position small, and all of that. Because a lot of people say that, okay, I have to start small. They call it the days of little beginning. And I tell people the days of your little beginning, the length of it is determined by you, right? You can stay in a particular place for too long. You can be a startup for 100 years, right? So until you begin to tell yourself that it's time to break free from this mold and begin to build something that is extensive, right? The days of your little beginning is not determined by any other thing apart from you as a person, based on the vision that you have. And I tell people that God gives you a vision, but with your imagination, you give it sight. So
Mhm.
if God has told you to do something and you keep telling yourself, I'm in my days or in my years of little beginning, right? You can stay there for too long without understanding the fact that the movement, the navigation is actually dependent on you and not the person that gave you the vision, because he has given you the vision and he has given you the intelligence and the wisdom that you need. But navigating has to come from your ability to emerge in and give yourself some certain drive that will help you achieve the goals that you're trying to reach, right? So in navigation, there's a difference between strategy and stratagem, right? Strategy gives you the framework, but stratagem helps you understand how the framework works so that you can push it forward, right? So I don't want to go deep into that, but understand the fact that while you are starting small, don't break yourself and limit yourself by the thinking that I'm still small, so I have to behave small, I have to think small, I have to position small. No, that's not the definition of starting small. Starting small is a state of the mind. It is not so. In fact, she said something that's quite powerful. Perception is bigger and more important than reality. Whether you believe it or not, that's how the business world works. Perception is more important than reality. And if you can create the perception that people can buy and begin to push it forward, people will leverage that and you become what you need to be in your frame of business, right? So it's not about the fact that you are a startup. Startup is a mindset, or starting small is a mindset. You can position yourself in such a way that your startup ship will not be too long till you navigate into the future that you truly deserve. And one of the things that I want to point out that she said is that if it's good, if what you're doing is so good, why is it so cheap? And I tell people you need to prioritize what you do, right? You need to give some level of energy and strength to what you do. I call it global energy. And sometimes the thing that you're doing while you are still small is because you've decided to stay small by your pricing. All the energies that you put out, all the strength, the wisdom, the capacity, the skill that you have, if you do not know how to market what you have and give it a price tag, you're going to remain a startup for too long. So if what you're doing is so powerful, if your expertise is to is on point, if you believe that you have global appeal, if you believe that what you're doing is massive, if you believe that you have what it takes to change people's business, their life, or your product has what it takes to solve that particular problem, why is it so cheap? Why is it that your production cost is not matching up with why is it that your revenue is not matching up with your production cost, right? So you need to identify some of these things and begin to ask yourself some fundamental and critical questions. If what you're doing, if you're so good, why is it so cheap, right? Quite an informative section. I don't want to go I don't want to start another section right now, but these are some of the things that you can actually leverage,
He
right?
can't help
Understand the
himself, y'all.
fundamentals.
Listen, CJ can't help himself. And this is what I love about CJ Benjamin. Don't let that stern looking face of his fool you. Just like act like you don't see him over there with that stern face. He does smile, y'all. Listen, the man is passionate about branding. And if I let him, he'll talk us for 4 hours. And you'll love all however many minutes there are in 4 hours. You will love it all. Okay. Listen, I love what you have to say every other Tuesday. CJ, Ima, you are amazing. I have to point this out. I wrote it down when you said it, CJ, and it's gonna be on some Speak Up Sis platform. Maybe I'll tweet it, but you know I'm always give you credit, right? CJ said, God gives you a vision, and your imagination gives it size. Mind blown. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all caught that. A lot of times is God do it. God do it. God gonna do it for me. God gonna do it for me. God gonna okay. He's giving you the vision. He's giving you a vision. He's giving you purpose. It's inside of you. At some point, right, you've got to utilize what he's given you in order to take the vision, run with it, and get other people to buy into it and run with you as well. I love it. I'm gonna sit with that one for a while because that was good. Ima, if you don't mind, before we leave, and hello everyone. Those of you who are just joining in, I see you. Y'all came in at the butt end of this thing. We're about to wrap up. But guess what? That's the beauty of social media and videos. It will be recorded and saved on Speak Up Sis Podcast Facebook page, Speak Up Sis YouTube, Speak Up Sis Podcast group, and you can watch the replay. Someone says he is relentless. I love it. His passion. I'm telling you, amazing. I love it, love it, love it. Ima, if you will please rehash for us those. You gave us 5 startup mistakes, and you gave us the 3 E's of branding, the essential parts of branding. Do you mind recapping before we wrap up today?
Yeah, so the three startup mistakes that I see is first off, a lack of consistency with the brand, thinking too small. Yeah, I think lack of consistency. And the other mistake I see is people not light educating themselves about the skills, having the right skill set, right? And then the other startup mistake I see is not starting right. So starting haphazardly, starting doing things anyhow. And the other startup mistake I see people making is generally putting in too much effort in the wrong things, not putting up enough effort in marketing. The 3 E's are engage with your customers. Yeah, and also charging too much. Thank you for recapping that. So the 3 E's are engage with your customers, ensure that they are engaged with them at every point in every channel. I know it takes a lot of time to do, but even if you don't do it yourself, it's important that you engage. And then also educate yourself about the right skills, the right tools for everything. Marketing is so broad. I want to talk about marketing, I mean, where should I start? It's basically impossible to talk about marketing in just 30 minutes. It is so deep. So you have to do a lot of education into social media management and search engine optimization, website management, e-commerce marketing, all sort of things, brand marketing, positioning, competitor research. A lot. It's so wide, and as a startup, you could be overwhelmed by it. But it helps to draw like a mind map to map out all these parts of marketing. Then the last part is expand, educate your sorry expand, delegate some tasks, expand your reach, expand globally, and focus on the right target audience. I recently started up a farm here, and I found out that my customers were not Germans. They were 90% Americans. So what did I do? I stopped trying to sell to Germans and focused on selling to Americans, right? And so expanding your market, understanding that your business will change, your business model will change, your marketing strategy should also change with that, is that who you initially set out to target as target, who you set out to target determines how much you will be paid. So if you're targeting people that can't afford your services, just know that your business is going to be struggling a bit more, and people who do not appreciate your product. So if you find yourself in an environment where people do not appreciate your product, what should you do? Find a way to put it online. Try to put your service online. Try to put your business online or your product online and ship it. Ship it to people that appreciate it and love your product and appreciate that you what effort you are putting in. So these are just a recap, and I added a few things. I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. I hope this would help businesses. I'm really passionate about helping startups get to their feet, and I've been doing this for some years now. And I think it's really important for startups to succeed, basically because this is their life, this is their dream. They've given up working a 9 to 5. They've made a lot of sacrifices for this. So we really need to support them as much as we can, because they are a special group of people, right? They don't pay the most, but they are very, very special, and they grow with you. I mean, when they succeed, you succeed.
Perfect. I love it, love it, love it. You said something, and I know I'm gonna let the people go. I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna let the people go. I want to make sure people understand what they have in front of them right now. I think a lot of times, you know, people just see social media and they're just clicking and scrolling, and it's like, ah, la di da, la di di, right? And you don't realize that you've got the keys right here in front of you. You've got the thing that makes the magic right here in front of you. I'm gonna show you. I want you to see his face close up. Smile for the people. This is listen. If you all have not connected with this brother yet, I mean, I don't really know what your problem is. CJ Benjamin is the CEO of the Brand Room Inc. He is a brand strategist, and the man is a branding genius. If you've ever taken any time to watch his content, to listen to what he says, to actually read what he posts, you'll know for yourself that his brain works a little differently than the rest of ours. He is on my brand team. The Brand Room Inc. When you see Speak Up Sis, you see their work. I don't put my John Hancock on very many people, but I do give a stamp of approval for the Brand Room Inc. You can work with the Brand Room Inc. You can follow them on Instagram at the Brand Room underscore INC. If you're interested, DM me directly, or you can DM CJ, and we'll send you a link for you to consult. The consultation won't cost you a thing. Now, let me just say this, and I know, and he doesn't know that I'm doing this, and Ima doesn't know the conversation that I'm having right now, but I want you all to understand something. I'm gonna put this back up right here. Let me put that back up. One of the mistakes that startups make, small businesses make, people just getting into business make, is not charging enough. And if Ema doesn't mind, I would like to throw a second piece in there, like a 2.5. And that is that they're not willing to spend enough either. That's a hard one to deal with. And the truth is that there are certain parts of your business that you're going to need to invest. You're going to need to invest, and it's better to invest it at the beginning because you're going to lose a lot of money if you wait until the end. CJ is quality, the Brand Room is quality, and he charges. Pay the man the money. I'm just telling you, it's worth it. You'll be satisfied, and you'll be thankful and grateful that you did. So get on his calendar, consult with him, and then come back and let me know what you think. All right. So I'm gonna throw Ema up here for a minute. I got an opportunity to meet Ema a few years back. Actually, we were on the same in that same brand summit together. Got an opportunity to chop it up with her just a little while afterwards. She's another brilliant mind. Um, Listen, people, something else CJ said. No, Ema just said it. She said, if where you are, the people are not willing to pay for your product, ship it. CJ always talks about thinking globally. If the people in your neighborhood aren't your people, there are people in Australia who are your people. There are people, right, in South America that are your people. That's not just for products, that's for services as well. We've got to
Exactly.
get to a place where we will move beyond the people in our backyard. If you have a service that you're providing and the people in your city don't want it, the people in your county they don't want it, the people in your state don't want it, the people in your country don't want it, guess what? You can go give it to people in a whole other country, on a whole other continent. That's the beauty of social media.
I
That's the
mean, I also want to point out here
Go ahead,
that
Emma.
your customer is part of your brand. So like, there are people that they know that they only serve celebrities, so they're like makeup artists that only work with celebrities, and that's their brand. So when you're choosing your customer, just know that that's going to also affect your brand and your prices and every other thing that you do, and also the time that you invest. So having the right customers is also part of brand marketing, because they determine who you attract. I mean, if he's worked with another celebrity, then most likely other celebrities will want to work with him, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Listen, connect with Ema. Ema, do you have contact information that you want to put out there for people to connect with you? Are you working with people in this industry? You're available for new clients and customers.
My website is budgency.com, budgency.com. And also, you can reach me on LinkedIn, Ima Hack, my name. You would just connect with me.
Is that correct?
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So
You
you
could
can
also send me an email at info@budgency.com.
got you.
Yeah.
All right, so you all can connect with Ema at budgency.com or info at budgency.com to email her. You can follow the brand room at the brand room underscore Inc. on Facebook. Speak Up Sis at Speak Up Sis Podcast on Facebook. And if you miss any of this, if you just send a message, just inbox me or DM me, and I will put you in contact with either of them or both of them. All right. So, last words. You all know how this goes. You all get to give the last word. I'm going to give each of you an opportunity to just leave a little piece of inspiration, motivation, encouragement for startups. So, CJ, we're going to start with you so that you know Ema got to go after you. Okay.
All right. What I have to say is this: borderlessness is the tool of the time. So your ability to extend what you're doing beyond you is not just something you have to do, it's something you must do, right? So it's time to be borderless. No matter where you are, make sure that you can reach out beyond you. Your station is no longer your timeline. Your station is the word. Stop looking at yourself as somebody that is in the United States or somebody that is in Germany. No, you are the center of the world, and that is your location. So leverage
Mhm.
this thinking and be borderless. Thank you so much.
So I would like to say live intentionally. If you hadn't even thought about it, it's time to be a bit more intentional about what you put out there, about every single part of your business, from your customer all the way down to even how your font looks like. Being more intentional about how your brand looks and what you say, what you do, where you go to, all of these things are really critical. You are building your brand every single second, whether you like it or not, whether you are intentional about it or not. You are building your brand, so you might as well be intentional about building the right brand for your business. I hope to see you guys another time on another platform. Till we meet again. Bye.
All right, everyone. So until next, the fourth Tuesday, We'll be back for another Branded with CJ Benjamin and Angel Charmaine right here on Speak Up Sis Podcast. Y'all take care. Bye.